So let's talk about, okay, so this is our first official episode of 2026.
By the way, I've gotten such beautiful feedback about this. I know that we don't have a giant viewership, but I think people who watch this and listen to this really do love it. Hi, excuse me. What are you doing?
But, I mean, I think so too. I feel like it feels really good to do it. So that's my only barometer of like what's cool is like the get from it.
Also, have you heard, Henry, what are you doing? We're not going outside right now.
I mean, not right now.
Oh, can I just tell you that I took him to the local dog, and then I'll talk about the astrology. I took him to the local dog park, which I never do. We never go to the Kingston Springs Dog Park. We always go into Nashville.
Mhm.
And this, like, the loveliest 18-year-old girl was like, I used to walk him when he was in the
Oh,
shelter, and he's so happy. And like, it just like made my day.
wait,
I
you're
know,
gonna
but
be
we're not
really
going
sad.
outside now. I'll let you out. Hold on, just let him out because he's just going to be sorry about that view.
Okay. You're gonna be really sad.
Here, you can go out. Just keeping the door open. I don't care. So,
So like we
20.
are we love our foster dog Willow, but Tyler doesn't think we can keep her now.
Oh no.
Cause like she's so amazing and she's so sweet, but she's like not aware of her size.
Yeah.
She like has pawed Asher a few times in the face
Mhm.
and scratched him, and we're like, he's kind of fine with it. Like he's like, stop, dog. Like he's
Yeah.
learning his boundaries. But we're about to have a newborn, and
Yeah.
like a newborn spends so much time just like on the floor, like in a little thing. We're just like, and we don't like know what our life really is. Like our lease here is only until May. Like he's
Yeah.
just like feel really bad and I was kind of feeling like that way too, but I was I felt like they were so bonded that I was like, well, if this is what he wants, and like
Yeah.
they have their little soul connection, so I'll just like roll with it. But then she also jumped and almost knocked over an old lady, and he like really freaked out. He's just like,
So she needs training, and maybe she needs to be with either older kids or
great with like 10-year-olds.
yeah. Yeah. So we can put out the vibe to rehome.
I know, and it just breaks my heart because she's so amazing. But I mean, we've already done a good service. It's just so hard
Yeah, I hear you.
because
Let's set
you're
the
like
vibe here.
you're just like, but we can't even imagine her like being put down. But I think the lady who runs the rescue loves her so much that she would rather keep her than have
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Like she was like their favorite dog by far.
Oh.
I know.
So she'll find a home.
I think she will, and we want to try to help too. It's just like plot twist, but I feel like that's the 2026 vibe.
Plot twist. So astrologically, 2026, the new energy really doesn't come in until the week of, February 13th to February 20th is the major neighbor's dog. Neighbor. I'm running a rescue here.
You're literally Ace Ventura.
um, that, that week. So February 13th, January 26th, Neptune, which takes 164 years to go in the zodiac.
Casual.
Casual. Last time I was in Aries was the Civil War, casual. Saturn, which takes 28 and a half years and deals with structure and order and really kind of like our physical world reality, that moves into Aries on February 13th. February 17th, we have a solar eclipse in Aquarius square Uranus, which is like plot twist. It's also the Chinese New Year. So it's the year of the horse coming out of the shedding of the snake, which is really what 2025 has been. A lot of shedding, a lot of letting go, right? A lot of transition. Many, many people feel like they're in transition. So we don't really start to land in whatever new landscape we're landing in until next month. And then February 20th is arguably the most significant astrological event of 2026. And that's when Saturn and Neptune meet at Aries point, which is 0 degrees Aries, which is the first degree in the zodiac wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And that week is really, really, really significant.
Like birth,
That's right. When you're going to, what?
collective rebirth.
Yeah, just a reset start button, right? And we're in Capricorn season right now. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and there's a stellium. So Mercury, Mars, the Sun, and Venus are all in Capricorn right now, and they'll be there for a while. And then the January 18th new moon, Capricorn new moon, is really rooted and grounded and feels like there's a lot of potential there in terms of setting the stage for the following month.
Mm,
So the really significant months in 2026 astrologically are February. There's a February 17th eclipse, and then there's a full moon lunar eclipse March 3rd in Virgo. So that February, early March, because it's eclipse season, et cetera. Then July. July is wild because 4 of the 5 outer planets will have moved into fire. Well, all of them will be in fire and air, but 4 of the 5 of them, Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, will all be at 4 degrees.
mm,
So that's a that's a very rare configuration. And so there's a lot of movement because we're moving away from earth and water and a lot of processing and a lot of um, feeling and a kind of feeling of uh, weightedness that comes with that
mm,
into the movement and the agency and self-direction of fire and air. A lot more movement.
mm.
And then there are 2 eclipses in August, August 12th and August 28th. And we're also moving into Leo and Aquarius.
Nodes.
Right. And that happens on, I think, July 30th. April 26th, Uranus, which takes 84 years to go in the zodiac, moves from Taurus to Gemini. So it has not been comfortable in Taurus, where it's been since 2018, because Taurus doesn't like change and Uranus is all about change.
Tauruses don't like change. I have no idea.
And then uh June 30th, Jupiter moves from Cancer to Leo, right? And so that should be creatively energizing. And then I believe on July 30th, the nodes switch from Virgo and Pisces to Leo and Aquarius. And then the August 12th eclipses, the August 12th is the new moon solar eclipse in Leo. And then the August 28th one is in very early degree Virgo. Very early degree, yeah, Virgo.
So, like, the most significant energetic thing is really we're going from this, like, and we've been talking about this for a while. We're going from this, like, sort of like dreamy, liminal, Piscean kind of, um,
Endings.
yeah,
Real endings, like end of a 28-year cycle, 28 and a half year cycle, and then also an end of this 165-year cycle. But Pisces is everywhere and nowhere. It's a lot of victim consciousness. It's a lot of, there can be martyrdom, there can be escapism. There's creativity and there is spirituality, but we seem to have seen a lot of the shadow side of all of that. Saturn in Aries feels very directed, very clear, and very boundaried
mhm. I'm
in a
feeling
way that Pisces.
it's really interesting, the feeling of like, I feel like so many people I know have been working at, like, codependent patterns, and
Mhm.
this kind of dialogue around codependency and all of that stuff is, like, very it's part of, like, the pop psychology conversation.
Yes, yes.
And intellectually, I've understood that and I've worked on it, but it's felt like a battle for me,
Mhm.
something to really, like, work through, and almost like it feels almost no matter what I was doing, it still felt impossible in a weird way.
Is it
And
Here's my question though, is a lot of it ideology getting into your head versus like an overriding instinct? Because that's a lot of what I also am picking up on, is like we've been so in we've been, bombarded with this all these ideological phrases and ways of thinking and like this is codependency and this versus like what our instinct feels moment to moment.
I think it's like identifying something as codependent with the language that's been used can be positive.
Yeah.
And I think that's been something that I'm like, "Oh, I understand this behavior now, what, like, the banner that it falls under is."
Yeah.
But trying to, like, disentangle from it has been, like, very, like, messy and clumsy and
Hmm.
uncomfortable for me because of my own wiring, my childhood, my astrology, whatever, being a woman
Yeah.
in society, like, whatever. But just recently, in this one particular case with this job that I've been kind of going back and forth with, it was very hard for me to set up this boundary, and then all of a sudden, like, just literally today,
Hmm.
it was like, if somebody like, I'm just gonna state exactly what works for me,
Hmm.
and if somebody is that doesn't work for them, like, that's okay. Whereas in the past, I would kinda, like, bulldoze my own every
Yeah.
time, my own comfort to, like, accommodate and, like, show up and try to, like, make it work and overwhelm my system, and that's kind of what I identify as the codependency, where I'm like, I'm not listening to my own inner
Yeah.
bound
Yeah.
to and, like, do what somebody else wants me to do,
Yep.
and, like, just today, I set a boundary, but it wasn't like, "I'm setting a boundary." It wasn't this, like, aggressive thing. It was just like, "Here's what I'm saying. Here's my stipulations. If this works for you, cool. If not, that's cool too." And kinda, like, trusting and this is the disentanglement of the codependency is, like, trusting that if it doesn't work for them, then it's not aligned and that's okay. It's not
Yeah.
like using something.
Well, that you have a Cancer moon, right? So it's like the
Yeah.
Capricorn, all the Capricorn and the pile of a Capricorn opposite your can like that makes sense, right? And it's also it just sounds more embodied
Yeah.
versus an idea of something. It's like you hit the wall inside of yourself in
And
a good way.
you can feel it. Like, I think we all I mean, it's a subtle thing, right?
Yeah.
Whether we're talking about boundaries or we're talking about, um, if a relationship is right for you or even if a food is right for you, like,
Yeah.
there is a subtle thing inside of all of us that does know and acknowledge and register when something is, like, aligned,
Yes.
but I think
Feels
so
true.
are so used to bypassing that,
Yeah.
that I hope that this kind of new, like, the one thing I love about all my Aries people, and I have so many Aries friends because I just feel like this is a quality that I really just, like, admire, is they don't apologize for when it doesn't work for them.
Yeah, there's a self-assurance there. Aries and Taurus has this kind of core self-assurance.
Yeah.
It can, right? And there's something really solid about that.
Sorry, I'm just casually dying. It's fine.
It's okay, you have Air One.
Yeah, it's fine. Well,
Have you watched I
I
Love LA?
are.
Have you have you watched I Love LA?
No, I haven't because I feel like it's gonna fucking piss me off.
I I could only watch one episode. I was
Yeah,
like felt like PTSD from my own 20s in LA.
that's why and I was like, if this show gets made, like, I just get so bitter about, like, TV as someone
Didn't mean to take us on his other route, but, you holding that made me think of it. I tried.
it's all about boundaries.
Exactly. Hi. Um, I think that's so what I've been thinking a lot about is instinct,
Mm,
because Aries is all about instinct, right? Fire is instinct, which is different than intuition. Oh, no, Steph.
okay, we're fine.
Okay. Just casually releasing fluids.
Is this fun for everyone to watch me just cough and hack and fucking blow my nose?
Is instinct and how so much of the noise out there seems designed for us to override our instinct, right? So if we are living in a world where everybody is advertising their life and then projecting that that is the
Yeah,
right life for everybody else, then it we almost lose our sense of responding genuinely moment to moment. And I think of instinct is also different from intuition, which is intuition feels, more tied to feeling,
mhm.
where like instincts around someone. There's something that feels more true and honest. Like when I think of instinct, I think of like honest to oneself.
Mhm.
Like it's an honesty with oneself.
Well,
Like
it's also,
instincts
like
about a person or a situation.
it's more like animal.
Yes, it's more primal. Exactly. And, I've just been thinking a lot about how with Pluto in Aquarius and Saturn in Aries, are we going to see, in a way, the death of the personal brand? I am living this way, therefore, let me tell you how to live the way I'm living because it's worked for me.
I've been thinking
Right.
about it so much. I'm so glad you're bringing this up.
And one of the things that I love so much about astrology is that if one is trained in neutrality, it's like everybody is wired differently. So what's going to work for one person is not going to work for another person, right? Very superficially, some person may thrive in a city, some person may thrive in nature. It may switch throughout a lifetime. Some person may meet someone and get married 6 months later. Some person may date for a decade and they may never get married. Like there's all different ways. Some people want to be in a dynamic that is more traditional. Some may want to be in a really modern dynamic. But everybody seems to think that we should all subscribe to one way, which is the most boring way to to me to move through this world. Why would I want a world where everybody does the same thing or lives the same way? And it seems to me like there's a lot of advertising of one's personal lifestyle.
Well,
Like everyone's a mini Don Draper, right? Everybody's like advertising the highlight reel of their life. And no, I figured this out. And it's like, if I'm going to hear that from anyone, I want them to be 85.
1,000%. Well, that's part of, like, why I rebranded my own Substack because I was like, since having a podcast that I was looked at as, like, like a guide,
Mhm.
after I went off the air, I felt so much pressure to, like, continue to be a guide, but I was going through, like, a cataclysm of reality where I was like, "I this is all new to me. I do not
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
the death of my mother and tell you how to do it. I do not know how to become a new mom and tell you how to do it." Like this is it's experiential, but I felt like this like break in my brain of like how do I still show up and express myself without putting myself on this pedestal internally of like this pressure that I felt. And then I look around me, so that's my own personal journey with exactly what you're saying with around me and I'm like, yeah, that's the issue that I have with so much of like what has become of like influencer culture is that exactly that is like you go on TikTok or you go on Instagram and everyone is just like, my way is the right way. And that's not fucking true. Everyone has their own way of doing things. There's intrinsic truths or perhaps better ways of doing certain things, but like it's about creating your own quilt of things, not taking one person's thing and imprinting it on yourself. Like it's not to say that like there's not good ideas out there or you can't like pick up on someone's thing and be like, "Hey, I tried this and actually worked for me." But like these are little individual things, not like one blanket like follow the leader type thing. And I think that it's almost like very insane and audacious to me actually that all these people think because I don't know, they took a course or they went through something or whatever that now they're an expert. I'm like, how how are you not like constantly humbled by life every single day and being honest about that?
That's what I don't understand. It's not easy to be a person.
Yeah.
It's not. And like, I've been thinking a lot about this because 2025 for me, you know, it I have been hit, it's not complete yet, with really, really heavy astrology. And it did not it did not express itself in any way that I would have thought. It showed up
Mm.
a lot, really existentially, and a lot of stuff with my family, a lot of really big existential questions, a lot of religious inquiry within myself, a lot of, just things that I'm still navigating, right? And the part of it was a great kind of humbling, which I'm in my mid 40s. That seems appropriate, you know? But a lot of it is just a deepening into this life that I am living, that I am on the, but that is so separate from my work with clients
Right.
because wherever I am meeting them is where they are on their journey for their specific unfolding. If I'm projecting left, right, and center or holding an ideological way of moving through this world, I'm not able to listen beneath the words and really hear and read a chart neutrally.
But also on the contrary, like for you to be self-aware and honest about going through your own humbling and your own lessons makes you a better uh facilitator because
Always, but
it
like, but
opens.
also that's the gift of age, right? Like 2017 was also a very, very tough year for me when Saturn was squaring all my energy. Now it's opposing. And so I've also, when I look back and it's like, oh, I've also been through years that are not the same, but have a similar flavor. And I've gotten to the other side and they've taught me something. And it's not, you know, it's not a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow always, but it's something really meaningful. And life is peaks and valleys. And I'm also heavily Saturnine. Not everyone is heavily Saturnine. Like it does. But I think that that's the thing is we're not. Do you watch Landman?
Do I watch Landman?
The best fucking show. Like the wisdom of Tommy, it's like when I just think about how truthful that show is, how
Yeah,
honest and truthful, and it makes so much else out there. It's so clear in its agenda. Truth lands differently,
yeah,
and wisdom lands differently, and there's something there's something about the way that our society has evolved and is set up and you could and like maybe it's Neptune, which has like moved us away from that.
well, we've been in an era like my first I I I wrote a TV show in like 2017 that
Mhm,
basically all about the ways in which that we spiritually
mhm.
bypass.
Yeah.
And we've been in this era for so long. And
Yes.
not to say that spiritual tools aren't helpful to navigate difficult times. Like I don't think I could have gotten through like my mom dying without me elevating my connection to like something other than just like this dense reality. I don't think I
Mhm,
could move through the birth portal without,
mhm. Yeah.
these, but there's like a way in which we use them that I think perhaps is shifting and needs to shift, where it's like we use them to move through things. We don't use them to avoid the thing. And I think that's the whole,
Yes.
like the love and light crew and all that. Like it's not that love and light isn't beautiful sentiment. It's that love and light without shadow and sadness are nothing. Like we can't, that's not, you will, something will happen to you that you cannot pretend out your way out of.
Always, because always, and it's like, you lost your mom. I have a lot of clients that are dealing with aging parents. I am dealing with aging parents, right? There is a lot that comes up around that. There
Mhm.
just is. It's just a reality, right? It's like a lot of
Art.
my clients, yeah, it's like a lot of my clients have very, very small children. It's like navigating that is an acute period. It's not going to always feel that way. It's like, but it is there. The toughest moments can also be the most beautiful, right? It's like we can have those conversations that we may have avoided our whole life. Sometimes
Yep.
we don't get to do that. But if we do get to do that, like there's ways to actually meet the hard moments with humility and a desire to understand oneself, where one comes from, I had the most I had such a humbling and beautiful experience a couple weeks ago where I I had a client and I worked with her a lot, and she lives in the Middle East.
Oh, wow.
And after 10/7, she stopped talking to me, and she reached out and sent me an email, and she said, "I really would love to have a conversation." We got on Zoom, and it was the most heart-centered, beautiful conversation, and we really, like, got under the miscommunication that had occurred, and it just gave me so much hope. Um, and I just see, like, these hard moments are always an opportunity for us to open our hearts and deepen in our understanding and really trying to meet each other as human beings. And I just feel like we've lost that.
I mean, I really love that because there's something that felt so devastating to me, like, during the COVID times
Yeah.
where, like, people very close to me refused. Sorry, I just, like, spilled my coffee all over my sweatshirt. Um, where, like, people very close to
We're
me
cash here.
I'm, like, coughing, spilling, so
Yeah, that's
sorry.
how we roll.
Thanks for coming. I won't be like this next time. But where people very close to me, like, refuse to just, like, have that humanity,
Yeah.
and it also robs you of your own human experience
Mhm. Yep.
when you get the privilege of having difficult conversations, then you're like, "Well, where do I place this?" And then that
Yeah.
is part of what becomes the difficulty of the processing, and then that's what breeds resentment and avoidance and anger and, creating new narratives that don't need to be there just because you never had, like, a confronting human dialogue.
Yeah.
And it really is such a shame, and I think, like, it is the most important healing thing that we can do is offer each other that space that you're talking about, especially in a world where what is truth at this point? Like, how do we interpret information and where are we making things about us that should not be about us? Like,
And where are we hiding behind ideology instead of
y
actually communicating as human beings?
yeah, like, I really
That's
I think just, like, getting real, and maybe that's part of the Aries shift too, just, like, I
Mhm.
feel
That's what I mean.
like, just get fucking real and be okay with whatever that is, and don't it's not like you have to be a dick, but I do know that, like, there's part of myself that I've tamped down over the past whatever year how many years it's been, like 12 or 13 years, in the interest of softening certain blows or something.
Yeah, I don't did you have this experience, like and I don't mean to dog on LA this way, but, like, coming from New York, I got so much feedback about, "You're too direct, you're too heady, you're too strong-willed, you're too this," that I think I I started to just unravel, and, that's it's also maturation and knowing myself, and, I'm sure a lot of that was a sense of defensiveness and all of that, but I kind of bled out some of that within me, and I feel like I'm getting more of that back.
Yeah, I feel
Just the, like, it's okay to call something what it is. It's okay to like, I don't need to soften everything or
it actually
and
feels amazing to do that, like, in my body,
yeah,
like,
it's a relief.
just to be like, "That's fucking stupid," even as an example, I'm like,
Yeah,
"Oh, what a lip sentence." Like
100%, and I think that that's something it's like I'm coming back to myself
mhm.
in a way. Again, I think there is something about age.
Or maybe it's just our age meeting the timing of the age.
All of it. Yes. Yes. But I do think Aries is going uh, it's gonna call bullshit on a lot more. And I
Yeah.
think there's gonna be a lot more a lot less space and time for safe spaces, as an example, or, qualifying everything.
Well, the irony of a safe space is that it's not a safe space.
Yeah, well, exactly. Exactly.
It's it's a head of sand space.
Yes. But it's like when you said months ago when you're like, it's all emotion, it's zero facts. It's
Yeah.
like coming back to the idea of like, no, there are facts. Yeah, I mean, you can really just go down a rabbit hole of moral relativism and relativism in general. But like at the end of the day, gravity exists, right? You drop an apple from the top of a building, it's going to land. Like there are certain truths, even the
Come on.
flat earthers.
I was about to say
We always
my obsession. Some people will be like, well, if you drop an apple, but then you really focus on it, you can like bend it with your mind. I'm okay. Like, yeah, I don't know, maybe.
but like that sounds exhausting to me. Like to live in that headspace where every right, I guess it's very Piscean, right? Like limitless possibility that just sounds exhausting to me.
I also hope that like, I love a good conspiracy, but at the same time, like it goes to this level that's like insane and fantastical.
Well, it's often uninteresting, meaning it's always the same group that's judged and blamed for everything, and it's also it's like the same couple people, and it's always the same. Everything is a nail, so everything's a hammer.
Well, it's like Edward Snowden said in that article, like the greatest conspiracies aren't hidden.
Exactly. It's obvious. It's
They're just
just
happening and like we're so inclined to like want it to be something else. Like I loved that article that he wrote. We both read that, right?
I don't know if we did. I don't know if I did.
I
Did you
got it.
send it to me?
I'll pin it in this
Okay.
app. It's like amazing, but he basically like I exposed like the greatest conspiracy of
Yeah.
our time, which is that the government is spying on us.
Yes.
And then all the conspiracy theorists were like, "That's not the conspiracy." I'm like, "What?" And he's
Yeah.
like, "What the fuck? Like that is it. Like
Yeah.
you don't need to do all this. Make me the center of the conspiracy. Like I'm somehow not telling the truth." And so I hope that and he uses so many smarter words than I can even think of right now, but or I probably ever had in my brain.
Can we just bring back substantive journalism? That's it.
Yeah.
Like not everything being a hot take with based on emotion and zero facts. Like
But
can we just bring
that
back
I hope that in the Aries time it's more like he said, the conspiracy theories are known and they are there's a groundedness to them where we don't have to keep like even when it comes to like the weather modification, right? It's like it's conspiracy theory. All you have to do is look up. And all you have to do is fucking read a little bit about what they're spraying and you can know that they're cloud seeding and inside of what they're spraying
Do you
is
think it's the language that people can't process, like the language itself, it's the lexicon?
no, I think
Yeah.
it's they don't want to be afraid. I like okay, Tyler's brother and I have this very like contentious but like we respect each other. We like debate a lot.
Yeah.
Like he's a doctor, but he's like kind of a little bit more hippie-ish because of how they were raised, but he's still like he's an ER doctor, right? And so he has much more of like a orthodoxy or
Like emergency medicine
y-
doctor or like ENT at an ER?
no, like emergency medicine.
Okay.
He works in an emergency room.
Yeah.
So he has like an orthodoxy around like how he does things, but he does like recommend some more allopathic things to people
Yeah.
because he was raised like their mom would like if they got sick, she's like, eat this clove of garlic, like they were.
Yeah.
So he has an openness. But one time he was over and I was like, this shit is fucked up. And I was pointing at the sky and he was like, I can't even, he's like, I have enough things to worry about. Like, that can't be one of the things.
Yeah.
And that's what I think it kind of comes down to is like, It's
Well,
just
it's
too much.
very it's in a really basic way, it's incredibly disheartening to think that your government is poisoning you.
Of course, but it's like
Or
my
that, like, corporations are
grow
poisoning
up.
but also, like, I think about this all the time, right? It's like, how many 90s movies were like courtroom dramas about corporations
Did we see Aaron
poisoning.
Brockovich? Hello?
Yeah, I think about The Constant Gardener, which was
Yeah.
all about vaccine trials in Africa. She won an Oscar for it, and then we say, "Oh, no, that's not possible."
Yeah.
Literally, like, I just think about all like Aaron Brockovich, A Civil Action. What's the other super famous one? Like, it's there, and then you look at, oh, what is the merger between these studios being corporatized and where is the money? Or same thing with newsrooms. Like, I don't think it's a conspiracy theory. I think it just looks at when news when journalistic integrity is not truly independent, and also not just sitting behind a desk, but actually in the streets, actually investigating. Like, where's investigative journalism gone? I don't know, right? I
Well, they
guess it's civil.
look
It's just
at
like,
archives of news and they talk all about the cloud seeding. And they're like telling you.
right, but I'm saying that, like, I think that there is yes, I think that there is just a collective, because we are so influenced by media in small and large ways, that there was a telling of this in really traditional media models,
Yeah.
and that has gone away.
Because
And
they got
because
bought by fucking Pfizer.
But that's what I'm saying. So, like, if you it it's not a conspiracy, it's like we are in just like we are influenced by the 5 people we spend the most time with, we are influenced by what we are taking in and what is the perspective
Yeah.
and who are they accountable to. It's like, wasn't that movie The Insider about the tobacco industry and, like,
Yes.
60 Minutes and, like, the whole thing about the investigation of tobacco? I mean, this is as old as time,
Yeah.
right? And, like, by the way, I wonder if in the next 20 years, as Pluto moves through Aquarius, if the social media, you know, if these companies are going to be held accountable in the same way that cigarette companies were in terms of addicting young people, addicting us, to these devices, which is more addictive than cocaine, more addictive than, I mean, they are the most addictive, right?
Yep.
Right. The Marshall McLuhan, like, the medium is the message. So if we are being distracted constantly and by outrageous kind of fantastical, threads versus what's real and true and obvious, like Occam's razor, right? It's like we just seem to be missing the mark over and over again. It's everything around the thing versus the thing.
I think that people like there needs to be a consciousness upgrade to the group of people who so I think because mainstream media is so captured,
But I
then
don't think most people are watching that. I don't think that's where
but
like,
but
yeah.
but but then there's the social media backlash.
Yes.
So but which is then like this like insane web
Insanity.
of just like
Yeah.
theories, information, and like
Yeah.
it's really hard to decipher what is true
Yeah.
no matter what topic we're talking about. We're talking conspiracy, parenting, we're talking fucking who knows what it is. Like
Yeah.
everyone's got a hot take, everyone's got a thing. So that creates even more resistance, I think, from the group that is like isn't watching the news, but is still like more
Yeah, because they look at that as a batshit crazy and also, frankly, like, inarticulate
yeah.
and unstudied and no actual historical context or understanding around anything, and everything's a hot take around a geopolitical issue, no matter what it is, where a lot of people couldn't even place these places on a map, not to mention what geopolitical alliances are present. It's all response.
And like maybe if we're looking at like it's like a needle in a haystack, right? There's probably like 5 people in 5,000 who actually know what the fuck they're talking about. But it's so
That's
hard
what I'm
to find
saying.
inside of the noise of all of that. So I think that's part of the issue is that people can objectively see that's happening where it's like, what is all this nonsense? But they don't know where to hang their hat.
I also think there's been too much of a blowback against intellectualism, right? It's like you have the faction that it, it has really soft hands, right? I would include myself, and hasn't really been out in the world in a way, and is just speaking from a place of having no actually lived experience around something. That is problematic, right? But then we've thrown all substantive discourse and substantive research out the window because of that.
I
Because
know
it's like, oh no.
an article, it's like TLDR.
Yeah. What's TLDR?
TLDR is like the Gen, whatever, the younger millennials. It's too long, didn't read.
Oh God. Is that really a thing?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so old. I mean, that is like my worst nightmare because it's like if you can't read a long form article or essay or a novel or a book, it's like one's capacity to take in and synthesize information isn't there. Why am I going to listen to you?
I
And
watched
that is,
neuroscientists talk about this, about how like it's actually like eroding our brains,
of course it is.
taking in short form content and scrolling. Like we're, and there was like, they did a study on somebody who didn't do it for like a year or something, and his brain repaired itself.
But that makes so much sense. Like even so we saw a bunch of films over the break and we saw this beautiful film Sentimental Value.
Haven't seen.
It's a Norwegian film and it's so layered and so beautiful and unfolds like a novel. And it's like a much, much more substantive, much, much more intelligent, thoughtful version of Jay Kelly in a way.
I couldn't
Right?
get through Jay Kelly, by the way.
It's very surface to me. Jay Kelly was
I was,
bubblegum, honestly.
I was so bored.
Yeah, this is just a much more and it's like we watch something like that and it satisfies something very deep and true.
Mm-hmm.
And it just like reading a novel, especially if you like read the classics, right? Like there's something that satiates. It's like having a really substantive meal versus cotton candy. And it does something to the soul. It enriches the soul. And I feel like we are eroding the soul with all this. It's just nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what the answer is. I don't know. I don't know how you hold these companies accountable. I do think it's interesting that Neptune went to Pisces and then the algorithm shifted or the algorithm was created versus, taking information chronologically. Like what would just show up in your feed? It started to acclimate and adjust in a weird kind of hall of mirrors.
Yeah.
And I think that has messed us up,
I'm
right?
like, I took like my friend's phone. I was like, let me just see what your algorithm is. And I'm like, we are living in,
These are different realities.
we don't live in the same world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Different realities. And it's like, it, that is so damaging because that in and of itself, that cuts off at the knees conversation because y- you're just living in your own reality and you think that's it, which I guess is how people lived for centuries or millennia. Like they lived in their own bubble, but they were interacting human to human. There was a human component, right? You went to the marketplace, you went to the pub, whatever, and you had a shared reality.
Well, there's a full circle moment here, which is that kind of what we were talking about earlier, which is the prescriptive nature of things versus talking to an audience or a group of people just about like your own lived experience. I think that could potentially be like an antidote to this issue, which is
But
that instead of instead of instead of us being like, my reality is the definitive reality, the sureness is the undoing of the connectivity, where instead, perhaps the evolution of the dialogue is this is just what I'm doing that's working. And even when you're having conversations, like I was talking with my brother and he was asking about what I'm going to do with Asher with school or whatever. And I was like, honestly, like we're talking about homeschooling him, to putting him in extracurriculars, but like I don't want him to go into a school. And then he was like, well, don't you, and he had this opinion about like, well, don't you feel like socialization? It was so good for you and blah, blah. And he had this whole perspective. And I was like, actually, like, no, I don't feel like that. I think that it created like this peer pressure kind of thing,
Mhm,
but you don't seem like that. You seem confident. I'm like, well, because I adapted.
mhm,
But my internal reality was this, and I just want to offer my child something else. And we had this really great dialogue about it.
mhm.
But I think the reason why the dialogue was successful to the point of our conversation is because I wasn't like, this is unequivocally the right way to do things, what I'm telling you.
Yes,
Do
exactly.
like if you have kids or your friends have kids and they want to put them in school, like, God bless. I just don't want to do that. And then he was able to receive it in a way that wasn't like creating a defensive model within himself. And I think that's where we need to tinker how we interact with each other.
Well, it's also interesting, right? Because Saturn moving into Aries means Saturn is opposite Libra. Saturn in Libra is exalted.
Mm,
Saturn in Aries actually in its detriment. But it'll oppose Libra, which means that you talk about like the more we can take personal responsibility, right? The more we can actually meet the other.
right.
Right? So you taking personal responsibility for the energy you are bringing to the conversation,
Hmm.
because you can't control how your brother shows up,
And
right?
I don't want to either. That's the thing that's so fucking exhausting.
It's exhausting because it's coming from a place of defensiveness. And so one of the things I've been thinking about is like, is my intention here to connect or
Hmm.
is it to prove something?
Yeah.
Like what? Because if I'm coming to connect, if that's the intention behind whatever the conversation is, it's going to be a very different conversation. It's like when I had this reconnection to this client, I really just went in curious. Like what happened for you? And she came in curious for me. And so we were able to find ourselves to the middle.
Yeah, I love that.
And that is something, you know, just in my own awareness of my own defensiveness or where I can in my personal life have a tendency towards declarative sentences, which I get from my father. You
Well,
know?
we're so we're
Exactly.
the fact that we're even having this conversation, we have evolved greatly because we're better nature in every way.
Well, it's like it reminds me in college when I moved in with my roommate who's Italian, New Yorker, and I
And
would say to her like, I I've never had great knees, like in field hockey, they had to look at my knees. And I would say something like unconsciously, when I was 19, I'm like, My dad says we got to go to this. I got to go to this doctor. He's the best. He's the Knicks doctor." And she would always make fun of me. It's like,
yeah.
my dad's Jerry, like Jerry Beinstein at his best. Like, this is the best. And
Yeah.
I have some of that that Daniel calls me on. But recognizing, where am I coming? Where am I coming from? Defensiveness or needing, wanting to prove something versus coming in with genuine curiosity. And I think that's a lot of what we're missing. I mean, the best example of that is right now with the Venezuela thing. It's like 20 something year olds telling Venezuelans, no, they don't know that they've been under a dictator or their family has been under a dictator. Like, why aren't we asking, what was this experience like for you? Oh, and you meet someone who's Cuban and you tell them, no, you're pro communist. You don't know what they're talking about when they fled Cuba. Like, I don't understand
Yeah.
why you wouldn't ask what was your experience?
I saw a video where like they were all just celebrating in the street.
Venezuelans. Yeah,
Yes.
all over the world. Because Venezuelans, 8 million Venezuelans have had to flee Venezuela. And it's like, but this is what I'm saying, like this younger generation, maybe it's every young generation. I'm sure I had my version of it, which just thinks like they're armed with all the information and they know, and they discount any lived experience. And this is also a problem with cutting off conversation and communication, but also this idea that like it's part of the same thread of like every parent is a narcissist.
Right.
Because then every conversation is dismissed. It's very easy when you label someone something to dismiss everything they said. Let me just let my dog in. Um, but I think that that is like, I want to hear about what people who live in different world. I mean, that's my favorite part about my job is I have clients from all over the globe. And their lived experience, their conditioning, their customs, their it's so important that I learn about that, and that because context matters,
Mhm.
right? But the hubris, and I guess maybe it's just youth. But then it's like it's one thing if it's youth, but if it's like a 50-year-old woman, you know, dictating to other people that their own experience isn't true based on ideology. That's what I'm wondering if Saturn is going to help bring us back to, you know, honoring lived experience, or at least not like, and the Pluto in Aquarius, like, is it going to dismantle this penchant for ideology that we've been in?
On a personal level, like, all I can kind of relate it to is, like, what I'm kind of alchemizing, like, I do think that that is the direction that we're heading in, because that's what I personally feel drawn towards
Yeah.
level.
That's your personal experience
Like,
and you are
I'm
evolving. I don't know.
just
That's my question.
playing the energy of whatever it is, like,
Right.
so I think if we're all tapping into how we're kind of how it's moving through us and how we're embodying it, which is where it all really starts, then I think that your prediction or your desire is true.
Yeah. Yes, I think also all of so those born 89, 90, 91, real millennial energy that have that stellium in Capricorn, Saturn will square that stellium. So that's a real maturation. So that's going to be interesting.
It's funny because my brother was born in 90. He has more than a stellium Capricorn. I think he has 7 planets in Capricorn or something. Like, it's like the only planets that he doesn't have in Capricorn are Mars, Moon, and Rising, and everything else is in Capricorn.
I have clients like that. So it's going to be very interesting when Saturn comes along and squares all of that.
But he's already
Feeling that. Well, Saturn went into Aries.
I'm
Like,
noticing
yeah.
engaged now versus like during COVID.
Yeah.
He's way less like rigid and more curious.
I mean, so then he's growing.
Yeah. Also, like, everything I said turned out to be true, so it's kind of like you'd have to be a fucking idiot not to notice that.
But I think that there's still like right, an evolution that's happening. And that's like who we are. Like I was talking to a client and she was like, I have to remember that who my parents are now are not who they were when they raised me. And so I
Ugh.
don't know what their experience was when they were raising me
Mhm.
versus who they are now. And there's a horseshoe to life, right? So I think that engaging and like remaining open to dialogue and recognizing our own energy. Like I say, I'm very Saturnine. So I'm aware that I bring my own seriousness to any endeavor. And there's a part of me that wishes I were lighter, but it's not my wiring. I can like add more play and all of that. But I also recognize I'm not the person that is going to be the life of the party. That's okay. I own that the energy I bring is going to show up a certain way. And I take responsibility for that.
Danny, you're so fun.
I can be fun. I can be funny.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna like dance on tables.
Yeah, but you like hold it down and hold court and have like fun, interesting conversations.
But that's a version of fun. I'm just saying, like Landman. Like I'm not gonna be an Angela. I'm like for a million reasons, but I really like I think that character has so much heart
Yeah.
and there's a real beauty to that expression of femininity
I love her.
that I love that I just don't possess. And I'm probably more like the Rebecca character.
Yeah.
I am more like the Rebecca, right? Who had to go through my own arc, which he seems to be in, but just recognizing like taking ownership of I bring that. And that's
Right.
okay,
Right.
and it's not about it. So that kind of it's self-awareness, really,
Mhm.
without like self-diagnosing. So I don't have to turn into a pathology.
Right.
I can just be self-aware,
Yeah.
right? I have an appointment, so I do have to go soon. But
Okay.
look, 36 people. I think this is the most we've ever had
A good omen for the year of We Have Notes.
for 2026.
I want to apologize for my cough. I literally wasn't coughing at all before this call, and then I took a shower trying to steam it out, and then it just like activated the coughing. So
Look at how I look. I mean,
no,
we are casual
I
here.
feel like talking, they were listening, and it was just like a lot of
I didn't feel that.
interruptive coughing.
I
Um,
did not feel that.
okay, good, because I felt really bad. I was like, how do I mute myself? I probably could have muted myself, but
No,
can
but
I?
we're back. We're
Yeah,
back.
I could have muted myself. Anyways.
We're back.
So let's just do this every week until my baby
Yes.
comes. But I feel like even with the newborn, probably after the first few weeks, this is an easy, great way to do something.
You can just breastfeed through it.
Exactly. Everyone wants to see that, right?
Yes. It's real. We keep it real.
It's instinctual. And it's good. It's
Exactly.
all of it.
Rent sentimental value, but it might be hard with Asher, but it's so
Feel like
beautiful.
I may as well milk, no pun intended,
Yeah.
everything I can out of it
Totally.
and in full mom mode.
100%. Yeah. All
Just
right.
like mom of two, I'm like, I'm just a teen with a dream. Like, I don't get this. This doesn't make any sense. Oh, well, thanks everyone for coming. I loved this conversation.
Me too.
And
To be continued. And let us know in the comments, and we'll get better about engaging the people who are here
yeah,
during the
that's
call.
thing to say before we go.
Me or anybody there.
Just hearts. Okay, we love that.
Okay. We love it.
I'm gonna add that Edward Snowden article because I just think it's like one of the
I
most.
don't know if I read that. Yes, send along.
I feel like I sent it to you, but maybe you just missed it.
Maybe.
Maybe you were like TLDR.
It's so disturbing.
I can never imagine you saying anything like that. Oh my god.
Love you, Steph.
I feel like, are you having a mental breakdown? Okay, love you. Bye.